morning all. I think Ma'am Kiran Bedi has set us such a precedence that I'm still in a fangirl moment, just still coming out of that. I hope to kind of keep the momentum as high as she kept. While there are a lot of things on the mental health, resilience and all we can talk, it's a very broad topic. I thought it would just make sense to kind of cover this story through my own journey. And it's always relatable when we go through our own journeys. To get started, there's a timer always on, so just being conscious of the time. I would like to thank the Analytics India magazine for giving me an opportunity to be here with all the beautiful audience, and even 10% of this audience can take away something from the session. I consider that as a win. So I think great set of sessions yesterday, and also great set of sessions lined up today. Do leverage all of them. And so with this, we'll get started. So resilience and resilience of mind. The small 6 inches part residing between the ears where the battles are won. So we'll get started with my own story. Apologies for the small font. A lot of things have been packed into this one slide within the suitcase. So I wanted to get started with my own journey. And some of the things I took away from the previous session, just to give a context. So we only have 7% in the senior executive leadership at women and 5% at the board level. So my journey is, with everything I'm at the 7%, I fall into that group. There were a lot of questions around, do we need to leave this to be there? So you'll hear a bit about that also. So I just wanted to kind of share my both professional and personal journey that happened since I graduated. So I passed out in 1996 from NIT Bhopal in computer science, and family of engineers. So I was also one of the external folks like Kiran Bedi. I used to represent school in badminton and everything. So a lot of things I was just trying to relate in today's session, how my journey and how external helps. Coming back, I graduated, I joined ITI Bangalore. ITI Bangalore, Indian telephone industries, those old phones, Trin phones, that was my first starting job. 2.5 years there, I was part of their R&D group. And then 98, I moved to Oracle, Oracle India. And there, I kind of moved from a senior developer to senior member technical staff. And then in 2005, I realized my calling is probably on the management side, because everything is a project management. So somewhere I realized that I'm more of a management person than would spend life doing coding. So 2005 I moved to IBM, and I took over as engineering manager role. And in IBM, I spent 15 years at IBM. And I was part of their India Software Labs. I did varied roles. I started as an engineering manager, led product development teams. I grew, I got an opportunity to be chief of staff, which is a strategy role. And then I moved on to lead center of excellences. I led consulting teams. I led entire product engineering portfolio for their Watson IoT. And I also did offering management role. So from a product conceptualization, we say from cradle to grave, I had an idea around how the products get conceptualized, how the products get built, how the products get deployed. So I kind of completed the entire spectrum through different roles. While this was happening, in 98 I got married. That was the professional part which I grew in IBM. Just to kind of complete on my professional thing, a lot of these roles were offered because I had an appetite to take risk. I was one of the star performers, the top talent. The company wanted to give opportunities to retain me, and I didn't have to go out. I could actually do the roles within an organization. And while these professional growth was going on. My personal journey also started. 98, I got married. 2001, my son was born. 2004, my daughter was born. So I have 2 kids. My hubby is also in tech industry, so we were family of tech. And while this was happening, right, I wanted to also stress that while the graph professionally was kind of really growing, right, I got kudos, I got accolades coming my way. I was Women in Tech for Zinnov. I was recognized by NASSCOM for some of the work we had done on AI. I was always close to technology and innovation, so I'm a patent holder. I'm actually a plateau holder on patents. I was among the first member industry academy from IBM from India. I've also got technology-related outstanding technology achievement awards, OTAs, worked with academia, so I've been recognized on that. Women in Industry champion, patent plateau. If anybody sees this, I'm sure a lot of people will get inspired. And it's an inspiring journey. And we see LinkedIn's full of such stories, right? And it was certainly professionally a very high growing trajectory. By the way, while this was happening, we were the people, me and my husband were the people who grew our children also along. We didn't have support system. So just wanted to kind of kept that in context, because a lot of people think that I have to leave this to get there, right? So I just wanted to set that context. So everything looked good, right? Now that's where I wanted to kind of just bring the aspect of how the mental resilience was actually happening behind, right? We always see the glossy part of the things, the growth, the everything, right? But everybody hits a challenge. Kiran ma'am talked about her daughter's thing when she was 3 years, right? 2016, I realized that I'm not even enjoying the accolades that is coming my way. I was not even getting happy about it. It's like just, okay, this happened, let's just move on, right? So that's where, and the fitness level was such that even a climb of 10 steps was a huffing and puffing. I was 90 kgs of weight. And the body was giving signals throughout. It's not that body was not giving signal, it's just that in the rush of rat race, in the rush of milestones, in the rush of calls and deliverables and always remaining on high, always remaining on top, you tend to ignore them, right? And when this point happened, I realized something has to now change, right? And that's where it was not easy for somebody who is always on top, and you suddenly realize that, oh, you need to take care of your health, for that you need to take care of your food, you need to go for yoga, you have to go for it. You're not ready, right? But universe conspires to help you when you're actually ready for something, right? And during that time, I coincidentally happened to meet a friend who was just in her apartment coming out from her yoga class, and we happened to get talking, and she says, why don't you come for a weekend class? And this was not my first time I was going back to a yoga class, probably 4th or 5th time I was attempting, right? I said, let's see. And it so happened that the teacher was pretty different. It was like, we say, right, the gurus come when the shishya is ready. So it was such moment, right, that trainer was pretty accommodative. She understand all the aspects, and the journey started, right? But it was not easy. It was my rediscovery journey, which was like, it was not an easy journey, right? So journey kind of, yoga was just a part of it. But there were a lot of aspects to be sorted out, right? One is the mental side, one is on the physical side. There are a lot of, I've kind of shared some of the strategies. Kiran ma'am also talked of some of the tool sets that you have, so I'm not going to go in those in depth, but just couple of points, right? On the mental aspects, the biggest thing I had to kind of sort out was the work-life balance aspect of it. Weekend I used to work. First thing is to kind of, how do I stop working over the weekends? I was always on. I used to think proactiveness is always good. We all teach everybody, be proactive. But proactiveness sometimes was actually creating a lot of anxiety in the system where you are ahead of the curve and people are not ready. You tend to actually spend a lot of time ruminating those things and how this and how that. So, a lot of uncovering of those things happened during that time, right? How do you stop, from an over-engineering you get to engineering, not even inner engineering. You're just trying to get from over-engineering to an inner engineering. Those were tough. Those were really tough. But trust me, they are doable. The other aspect was just on the physical side, right? So physically I had to kind of find time for doing yoga. I just did on weekend, but then 5 days a week, how do I find time for that in the mornings? And then a little bit in the evening, right? What worked? It's all management. If you set an eye to that, you will find time. It's like make everything as your project and you can do it, right? Like Kiran man was spot on, everything is a project. So, but it happened, it did work, right? And I celebrated my 25th marriage anniversary last year. I came down by 25 kgs from 90 to 65 at that point in time. So, the point is, it's important to kind of, so the other aspect which I don't want to miss out is, when you start to kind of find the time to do some of these, you are also getting time where you start to really reflect and recharge on things that are important. Like when I didn't have weekend work, it was like I didn't know what to do because you're so much of a workaholic, right? But slowly and steadily, I started to find time to do what I like to do. I went back to playing my badminton. I went back to start writing poems. So I have a poetry book published. I'm on the verge of publishing a second one. I started going to the NGOs, so we do a volunteering for girls' education. So I went back to that, reignited talking to friends. Otherwise, my life was work, home, kids. So those times were actually helping. The emptiness is uneasy, but then in emptiness, how do you kind of work to make it effective is where the channelization helped. And so now that's where I was talking to someone. I said the most beautiful part, none of the accolades I remember, but the last 8 years what I've been able to do in terms of being a calmer person, being able to give back to the society. I do a lot of coaching and mentoring for the folks, and being able to enjoy the beautiful things, small little beautiful things has been things which I remember, right? So, and one thing which I realized when I was going through that journey is that a lot of workaholic and a lot of people think always on, spending a lot of time at the work, things will fall. You will see a career disadvantage. And none of these things actually happen. It's a fear. What you also realize when you have a paucity of time is you actually look at what is important, even at work, even at home. So this is a myth sometimes that being always on is a good thing, but sometimes it becomes detrimental because you're sometimes too close to a problem to be able to look at what is really needed at work. Right? So I'll kind of just wanted to, so this is the book where I've actually written down how my journey started. It's available, just my whole story. Because a lot of people come and ask, so I've just kind of penned it out into this book. I've just give as a reference material also a Forbes article link here. That is something I liked it because it just gives you a sense around when somebody is actually hitting a burnout. Sometimes we ignore the signal. And when I always think back, it was 2016 when I realized if only I would have realized it earlier, it would have been a lot more beautiful journey. But this is just for reference, I'm not kind of going into this detail. Yeah, the other important thing is different thing works for different people when they are kind of coming out or they're trying to cope up, they're building their resilience, right? So it's important that everybody picks the recipe that works for them. And it's a very simple faulty education system where everybody is asked, go climb the tree, and fish is like wondering, how do I climb the tree? So, never copy anybody's journey, look at what works for you, and look to adapt how you can actually work through that. This is just my mental screensaver when I feel down. And how do you keep your mind sane and agile when, not all days will be good, but how do you keep yourself prepped up? I do want to keep some time for Q&A. These are some of the areas which a lot of corporates in tech industry are working to help employees have a stronger resilience system. So it's important that when you are feeling low or when you feel that you have to do something, look out also for the things that your corporates might be performing. So these are some of the things. Some are implemented in some companies, some are in the process, but just a list of things. With that, I want to conclude. I do want to conclude with a small couplet, which just a 4-line couplet I wrote. It's not an AI written couplet, it's written by me. And it's in Hindi, it's in, like the couplet, the shairi thing comes better in Hindi than English. But it just focuses around why ignorance and patience is bliss when you have to remain calm. So it goes like this: sabar ki karo qadar, sabar ki karo qadar, बेफिक्र की करो कदर, जिंदगी जीनी हो, सबर की करो कदर, सबर की करो कदर, नज़रअंदाज की करो कदर, जिंदगी जीनी हो बेफिक्र, तो इन दोनों को अपना लो बेमगर. So that